It was close to midnight when the little girl walked into the diner, barefoot, shaking, and drenched in tears. Her denim jacket hung loosely on her small shoulders, her eyes swollen from crying. Every customer turned to look, but no one moved, except for 4 men sitting in the corner booth, men covered in tattoos with leather vests that read Steel Serpent's Motorcycle Club. They were the kind of men people usually avoided, loud, rough, and carrying the weight of their pasts on their skin. But that night, they were about to do something that would change their lives forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that real heroes come in unexpected forms, then please take a second to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel for more true and emotional stories like this one. The girl's name was Emily. She was only 7, but her eyes carried the kind of fear no child should ever know. Her brother Jake, just 12, had gone missing 3 days ago. The police had done their rounds, filed a report, put out an alert, but told her mother that sometimes kids just run away. But Emily knew better. Jake would never leave her. They were all each other had since their father left, and their mother started working double shifts at a factory outside town. That night, while her mother was at work, Emily heard a sound outside, the growl of a familiar bike engine. Jake used to love bikes, always watching them roar down Main Street. That sound made her heart pound, and without thinking, she followed it, hoping maybe she'd find someone who could help. Inside that small roadside diner, Emily stood before 4 burly men, her small hands trembling as she spoke between sobs. "Please," she whispered, "my brother's missing. The police aren't helping. You have bikes. You can find him, please." For a moment the men were silent. Their leader, a broad man with grey streaks in his beard named Hank, exchanged glances with his brothers. They weren't cops. They weren't saints. But they'd seen the streets, the dark corners where kids could vanish without a trace, and they knew what happened when no one came looking. Hank leaned forward, his rough voice cutting through the silence. Where was he last seen? That was all Emily needed to hear. She told them everything, the park where Jake went to play, the old truck she'd seen the day he disappeared, and how her mom's calls to the police kept going unanswered. The bikers didn't waste time. They stood up, threw bills on the table, and told Emily they'd find her brother. One of them stayed behind with her, while the others roared into the night, their engines echoing like thunder through the sleeping town. By morning, the bikers had turned the whole county upside down. They visited every junkyard, every back alley, every gas station and truck stop within 50 miles. They talked to people who didn't talk to cops. They asked questions no one else dared to ask. The Steel Serpents had a reputation, but that night they used it for something good. Word spread fast. Rough men on bikes hunting for a missing boy. Some people laughed at first, but by the second day, even the local sheriff started paying attention. On the second night, Hank found something near an abandoned storage yard, a torn piece of a red hoodie caught on a chain-link fence. Emily had said Jake was wearing red. Hank's stomach tightened. He called the others, and soon the rumble of bikes surrounded that silent yard. They broke through the gate and searched every rusted container, every pile of scrap. Then they heard it, a faint noise, like someone trying to shout through duct tape. They followed the sound to an old trailer at the back of the lot. Inside they found Jake, bruised, scared, but alive. 2 men had grabbed him off the street, planning to move him out of town by morning. The bikers didn't wait for backup. They handled it their way, restrained the kidnappers, called the sheriff, and stayed by Jake's side until help arrived. When Hank carried the boy out into the light, the first thing Jake said was, "Is Emily okay?" His voice cracked, and Hank just nodded. "She's waiting for you, kid." Back at the diner 72 hours after she first walked in, Emily sat in the same booth where she had begged strangers to help her. This time, her eyes weren't full of tears. They were full of disbelief and relief. When she saw Hank walk in with Jake by his side, she ran across the room and threw her arms around her brother, crying so hard she couldn't even speak. Every person in that diner stopped eating, stopped talking. Even the waitress who'd seen everything broke down behind the counter. Hank turned away quietly, hiding the emotion that crept into his rough face. The next morning, the news spread everywhere. Local biker gang rescues missing boy after police fail to act. But for Hank and his crew, it wasn't about headlines. They didn't care about the cameras or the praise. They cared about that little girl's smile when she realized her brother was safe. For men who had made mistakes all their lives, that moment felt like redemption. When reporters later asked Hank why they did it, he said, "Because sometimes the people you least expect are the ones who still remember what it means to care." That one line echoed across social media, inspiring thousands who watched the story unfold. People started sending letters and donations to the Steel Serpent's clubhouse, thanking them for proving that kindness and courage can come from anyone, even those who look the roughest on the outside. Emily and Jake would visit the club every year after that. Hank became like the father they never had. He taught Jake how to fix engines, and Emily would sit on the porch with the bikers, handing them tools and laughing with the kind of joy only a safe heart can feel. The men who once carried the weight of guilt now carried something brighter, the pride of having done something truly good. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who believes in humanity, and subscribe for more stories that prove kindness still exists in this world. And, before you go, tell me in the comments, do you believe real heroes still walk among us, even when they don't look like it? Because sometimes heroes don't wear badges or capes. Sometimes they ride motorcycles into the night, chasing hope for a child who just refused to give up.